So I asked ChatGPT how we can fix Africa's economic challenges, and the answers it gave me were quite interesting. Before we get started, welcome to Coffee Economics. My name is Abe, and if you're new to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Now let's get into the video. So I'm going to talk about the solutions ChatGPT gave and then give my sort of summary of how I think those solutions stack up. So the first one ChatGPT gave was investment in infrastructure. This was talking about development of transport networks, energy, water supply, and the like. The next one was about education and workforce development. That's pretty obvious, investing in schools and tertiary education and innovation as well. The next one was about agricultural development. That was number 3. Number 4 was access to finance, which is a really interesting one. Number 5 was how to promote good governance and reduce corruption, which is one thing that we talk about a lot as Africans. Encouraging trade and regional integration, supporting small to medium-sized enterprises, sustainable development, foreign aid, investment and aid, innovation and technology, addressing debt and financial stability. So those were interesting points that ChatGPT gave. And to be honest, I think some of those suggestions were really quite good, if we were to be really honest about it. But then it missed out some key things that I thought. For one, it missed out how the global economy and Africa interface, because there's some challenges that are not because of Africa's challenges with policy, but because of the economic infrastructure that Africa plays in. For example, Africa pays much higher interest rates compared to other countries. We use the dollar for trade, which has its own challenges, particularly when the world is in economic crisis. It's much worse for African countries. So it's interesting that ChatGPT didn't pick that up. One of the suggestions as well by ChatGPT was foreign investment and aid. And there's been a lot of talk about aid being not the best solution for African countries, and the whole lot of controversies around foreign aid. So then, because I was interested in debt, I asked ChatGPT to tell me how we can fix Africa's debt burden. And these are the solutions it gave me. So it said we need to have a debt sustainability analysis, which means conducting a comprehensive study to assess a country's ability to pay its debt obligations, and then identify appropriate level of borrowing, ensuring that debt remains manageable. Having responsible debt borrowing and lending practices, transparency and accountability, which is about debt-related transactions, disclosing all debt contracts, terms, conditions to the public, which is a really good idea. Debt restructuring and negotiation, which is engaging in debt, changing in the debt contracts so that they can be better for those countries. I'm particularly interested that it mentioned that reducing interest rates was one of the things that we should do, which I think is one of the main things that should be done in Africa, that we pay too much. The interest rates that we pay as Africans are way too high. Diversifying the economy, enhancing revenue generation, which is about broadening the tax base, reducing tax evasion, finding better ways to collect tax so those who should be paying tax are paying tax. Financial, physical discipline and efficiency. Number 7 was physical discipline and efficiency. This is talking about making sure that the public sector doesn't spend money on wasteful projects. Investment in productive sectors such as education, healthcare, and technology. Enhanced debt management capacity. So being able to plan how much debt you need, how to monitor where you're at on the debt cycle and the like. Access to multilateral finance. This is about accessing IMF funds and World Bank funds, which is already kind of happening. But it's interesting that ChatGPT was not able to pick up that some of these loans that African countries get come with conditions, and those conditions can be quite tough and quite damaging to African economies. Regional cooperation, this is talking about within African countries, I believe, and support from the international community. So having the international community being more helpful in terms of aid, loans, debt relief, and the like. So it was quite interesting that ChatGPT gave us some answers about how to fix debt. Still, there were some kind of gaps in that analysis, but that's fine. It's really a good starting point if someone is interested in looking at how Africa can deal with particular issues and challenges. Clearly, it missed out on the financial architecture part, really. It didn't really talk about that as a key point to explore. That has had certain implications in Africa in terms of what it can borrow, and if it's being able to borrow fairly, really. So then I asked ChatGPT about specific African countries I asked how we can fix Nigeria's economy. I asked it how we can fix Zimbabwe's economy. And I also asked it how we can fix South Africa's economy. And it's interestingly, most of the suggestions were fairly the same, kind of diversifying the economy, improving human capital, promoting small to medium-sized enterprises, ease of doing business, reducing corruption, trade, technology, innovation in technology, having social safety nets and the like, and promoting public-private partnerships in terms of investing in infrastructure or social projects. So what that means is that ChatGPT thinks that most of the issues in Africa are quite similar across African countries. There was some nuance in terms of how it talked about energy being a particular focus in one country. It didn't mention for Nigeria not reducing its reliance on oil, but it didn't talk anything about, the subsidies or improving refining, because Nigeria exports a lot of oil, but it has no ability to refine oil, so it doesn't have to import for its local needs. So it was interesting that ChatGPT picks up some of these things, but it doesn't pick up some of the new ones. So I rate ChatGPT as doing a pretty good job just to give you a base understanding of what's happening. Clearly, it misses out some very important aspects that are important in fixing the challenges that Africa faces and even individual countries face. So ChatGPT did an okay job. Whether it could do a better job, I'm not sure. It would depend on how the technology evolves over time. I think the thing that ChatGPT and AI technology will not do in solving some of Africa's problems, particularly when it comes to making policy, is that sometimes all these policy questions they're not captured in data or in reports and the like. So ChatGPT will always be on the back foot in terms of providing something that will be useful for policymakers, really, because some of the challenges that Africa faces are very specific, and also there's a lot of context that surrounds those challenges, and ChatGPT might not pick up those different contexts because those challenges are more in people's brains, heads, and data that's not on the internet. So will economists be losing their jobs to ChatGPT? I don't think so. I think there will still be a role for economists and other social scientists to play a role in how Africa develops. So in a future video, I'll probably ask ChatGPT to solve a particular problem that's facing an African country, and see the results that it provides me. And I'll share those with you guys in a future video. But otherwise, guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the like button. I'll catch you guys in my next video.